Okay, let's in this demo here real fast, I want to show you guys the type tool. It's really easy. If you come up here under create, okay, and if you scroll down here to text, okay, there's a text option. You need to open up the option box. So that's create, in text, hit the option box. When you open this right here, okay, there's already some text in there. It just says Maya, okay. I'm going to go in here and say Phil's Cove. Okay, you can do uppercase, you can do lowercase. It can change the look of the text, all right? Now, what I do like, they finally did this. They took this out in one of the other versions of Maya, and I think enough people complained and they put it back. If you click on where under font, there's a little black arrow there. If you click that, and it's the option arrow, and apply that, it opens up a select font option. In this option, we have numerous fonts that range all the way from A to W in alphabetical order, okay? And we have font style, we have normal, italic, bold, bold italic, and we have size relationships, okay? There's a sample window here which is really helpful as well. So what I need to do to really see the samples, I need to end up coming back here and raising the size of the type. You see that? And by raising it up to like 28 point now, I can get a really good idea of what that type's looking like. So then I can just come over and I could actually, this is something they didn't have, which used to drive me nuts. They took it out of a couple of the previous versions of Maya. Now they put it back in this version. So now I can click my arrow, I could go through the type fonts and I could see the differences between them. Okay, and so I can get a good idea if I want to have something in type language. We have what's called serif type. Serif type is type that has a little curve to the end of, let's say, the Y. So if you see the Y right here, okay, that has a curve on it, versus if I come back up here, that's a non-serif type right there. Okay, so you could just go through the type here and you could find something that might represent part of your restaurant. Okay, and then what you want to do is hit OK. So, oh, let me get rid of this. I always get that window up here. Let me keep going through here. I'll look for something that might be fun or different. That's not really a great type that's going to reflect a pirate restaurant, is it? That's something that might reflect the movie Tron, okay, or something else. There is, when you get into type and graphic design, look at that. That's a pretty cool font. It has a very scriptive feel to it. That's called Blackadder, okay? So I'm going to put that on. I have it on. I'm going to put it on normal right now and hit OK. Okay, now I need to decide. There's three options right here. There's an option for curves, trim, poly, and bevel. Okay, those are important because those are different options that apply on how I can create my type here. I'm going to go over and select poly. Okay, and underneath here, I even have the option to tell it to go to a count. So right now it's on count, and then there's an option of triangles. I don't like triangles because I get those hard edges. Okay, I like working with quads, but I can click on standard fit. Maya will go ahead and fit it for me, and if I hit apply, right, and I come over here and look at it right here, okay, go into my shaded mode, I have Phil's Cove. For some reason, I have no idea why, the E did not give me, so what I'm going to do is come back up here, okay, I'm going to hit close here. Let's go back up under font again. This happens sometimes, right? So let's go under create here. Let's go back under text, create the option box. And it might be something with this particular type for the letter E. I'm going to hit apply. I created a new one there, and look, it's not doing it. So for some reason, E is not working in this particular font, and it might be because it's very scriptive. I have no idea why. So what I'm going to do now, this could actually end up being a good example for me on why I'm having these problems here. I don't have an E anywhere else in there. For some reason, the E is not wanting to work. So I might come over here and try putting it on curves or another option, like let's say bevel or something, and hit apply and see if I can get that. And look what bevel did. Bevel actually created the type. Isn't that cool? It gave it thickness already. And this is something actually that I wanted to show you. You know why? Because this is new. I don't remember this ever being in here. And so this is fantastic. And if I click on this, look at this. It's actually has dedicated vertices. So it automatically has done what I used to have to do, which is go in and extrude this thing. Okay, so that's really fantastic. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to select all this, get rid of it. I'm going to come over here and say Pirates Cove. Okay, you know what though, real quick though, just to show you, because since it did it in bevel, it automatically added a certain amount of vertices to it. It made it pretty heavy. let's go back to poly, and I want to show you what happens if I do it just as a poly. So for some reason, the e's, you know what, let's Command Z this. Fill scope is what I have, okay? So let me delete this. If for any reason I happen to be working on a show and I had to control the amount of vertices that are in here, I'm going to go ahead and select these and bring these out, and it's just a flat plane of poly right now. It has 864 vertices. What I could do is if I right click to face and I select all these faces right here, and this can be problematic in Maya, is trying to get them to all do it at the same time. So then I go to face, I'm going to select all the faces. I'm going to go under extrude right here, and extrude, and if I pull this out right now, okay, that's another option that I have on how I can give it thickness. You'll notice though when I pulled it out, Maya always does this. One or two will get pulled in the opposite direction somehow. Okay, so if I grab this, if I grab this piece separately, okay, let's click off of it here, there. And if I pull it back and line it up, I can eyeball it, and now I have fills in a three-dimensional form, which is similar to what the bevel did. The benefit for me by extruding it sometimes is the size. This is only 626 vertices right now. Versus, let's come back here, let's watch what happens if I were to say fills again. Okay, and I'm going to create that in a bevel option, and I'm going to hit apply. Okay. Well, that's weird. For some reason, it doesn't like the P there. You see what happened right there? In this particular font, the P isn't creating right. Okay, so I might have to delete part of that. Let's go back. Let me try it again. Okay, now you know what? I'm sort of jumping over the map here. Let me show you one more thing. You'll notice when I created this from poly and I extruded it, right? Look at what happens when I touch the nerves that are still there. See what it's doing? Because there's history attached there. So if I want to get rid of these curves, and there's complete history. So if I click curve points on these particular curves right now, and if I move some of these points, look at what happened. See that? It snapped my curve. It made it fly out of there because there's history. So what I do is I select these new items here that I've created, right? I come up and I say Edit, Delete by Type, History. Now I've deleted the history, so now I can come over here and I can get rid of the curves, and the curves won't modify it. So the reason I want to show you both of these is if I create this under the bevel option and hit apply, right? Look at what it did to my P. For some reason, it's messing up the construction of my P. Okay, so I can select my P. Okay, that sounds weird. I can select my P, right? And I can delete part of my P right here. Okay, but look at what happens right now in individual selection when I select this. They're all grouped together as one item. So there's a reason why I like showing you, if you can't use the bevel option because you're having this problem, go back to the traditional option of creating it just as a poly and extruding the surface. So let me see if I can ungroup this real quick. Okay, ungroup. It won't ungroup. It's all one piece. So, and look, I even have these other little distortions happening here. Do you see that? That little shape coming out of there. So even though there is a bevel option, I had a student using this the other day, creating type, it doesn't always come out to work in your benefit. And so this might be particular to this particular font right now, okay? But so I want to show you these differences is that you have a bevel option, you have a poly option, okay? So right now, this type is really no good to me because it was all messed up. Now you'll remember when I created Cove, it wouldn't do the E correctly. So if I come in and do just an E, it does the E just fine now. You see that? I have no idea why Maya works sometimes and doesn't. So my benefit is if I want to be able to get this typeface out and have the word Cove and say Phil's Cove, I have a couple different options in how I can get there. I can use the bevel option, I can use the poly option and extrude, and then let's go take a look at curves, okay, or the trim. I'm not too familiar with the trim. Let's try this one and see what happens. Okay. What the trim has done right here is it's basically, that's what I thought it would do, is it's created a piece of trim which is basically a nerve mass. Okay, it's not a poly, it's a nerve. So if I right click on it and go to vertices, it has a different set of vertices. However, what can I do though? Since this is a nerve based, I can go under modify, I can go to convert, and I can convert NURB to poly, bring up the option box, standard fit, hit apply. Let's try that again. And it doesn't appear to be doing it. That's not good. Let me see if there's a convert trim. I mean, that is technically a piece of, yeah, that is a NURB. Let's go back here under modify and see if I can change it. Convert. And there's nothing here for it's just NURBS to poly. So if it's not doing it, it should do this right now. And it's not. And I have no idea why. If I hit apply, it's just placing the sender. You know what? Maybe it applied it separately and there's two pieces on top. Nope. So it's not working there. So even when I try to convert it, and this is weird, I've had success on this before and now it seems not to be working whatsoever. So that's the basics on how you can create. Okay, so let's go in here. Let's try it one more time. And let's try to convert it. I mean, let's, I'm not convert it, apologize. Let's try to create another text option for ourselves here. Okay, so I'm going to come back to create. Let's go to text, and this time I'm going to change the type. Okay, oops, I didn't hit the option box. Create, text, option box, and this time I'm going to come over here and I'm going to type in, what's a pirate name? Let's say, and do all capital, Pirate Lounge. Okay, Lounge, oh, Pirate Lounge, and I'm going to hit to poly, I'm going to hit apply. Okay, and look, there's the Pirate Lounge. For some reason, I have no idea why. I've never had this problem before. It's not doing it in a couple letters. So I think that's typeface oriented. So what I'm going to do is delete all this in here. And let's change the typeface and see what happens. Okay, let's go. I'm going to scroll down here. And again, I need to go to magnify the size to see what I'm doing. Okay, there we go. Now I can see what's happening here. I'm going to see if I can find another typeface that might apply towards... There, that's pretty cool. That's sort of a different font. You know what, before I do that, let's stick with something basic like Verdania. Now, Verdania is going to be really plain and simple. If I hit OK, it's probably going to fill every one of those. Look at that. See that? It did that. So what was happening, the reason why the text option didn't fill all of them is because it might have been the way the geometry was meshed or something was conflicting and Maya didn't want to produce it for us. So on a basic font, it did it without even blinking at it. Okay. All right, so with that done, let's go back over and let's go back. I want to adjust and let's go down to that other option I had here, which was this, is it Tecton? Yeah, this one is pretty cool. Look at that. There's some really cool fonts here. That has like a papyrus look. Okay, let's go back up a couple. That has a nice feel for a pirate restaurant. Possibly looks like it was ink, possibly written by ink. Okay. Yeah, I like that one a lot. Tempest Sands. Let's see what else I happen to discover. That's a cool one. Let's try veneer. Okay, hit OK, hit apply, and look at what it did. It didn't do the E and it didn't do the O, okay, or the E again. So those might be hard to get finished. So what I can do is come in here. Let's see if I can get the O done separately, maybe. Okay, hit apply, and it's not. Still not liking me. It's not wanting to do it there. It didn't do it. There's the O. It didn't show up right. Okay. So what I could do is try going to the bevel. Let me try what happens when I do just the curve. It's going to give me just the basic NURBS curve for it. So I'm not going to bother with that. So if I go to bevel now and hit apply, look at what it did, guys. It gave me the O. Okay. It's a high res O, but that's fine. It's 12,000 vertices in it, you know, but I still can fulfill the rest of my outcome here for my signage. Okay, and there's a little secret here. How can I thin that down? It's at 12,000 vertices right now. Well, it has a nice beveled edge to it. So what I might do is try to go in. I might have to just create a bunch of beveled letters in groups separately and then place them all to spell what I want to spell. So it can be a little touchy working in Maya like this, okay? This beveled edge, what's nice about it is it has a nice round edge to it, and it looks beveled and it's nice. Okay, that's very attractive. Versus the way I did it was much lower in resolution, but it's a straight extrusion. I'm much lower. I'm only at 600 vertices versus 12,000, but I have a distinct hard edge on it, which can suck for me. Okay, so you have to sort of find the the happy medium between both, and then make your decision from there. Okay, so that's creating typed. And just again as a reminder, remember that you do have this dedicated NURBS curve that's right here that makes up your type. So if you go in and if you start modifying vertices on there, see what it does to my main? It modifies the vertices in there. And I can modify these vertices in numerous ways. I could even grab the center aisle one here, and if I move that to the left or right, it's adjusting what's taking place. So don't just come over and delete the curves, because it's going to affect, you have to select the item that you're keeping, delete by history, okay, and then you'll be able to use it and manipulate it how you like. And then once you've deleted the history on this, it is vertices. So you can come in here and you can move these independently, and you can make extensions to your typeface. It is a poly mesh that you can come in and you can continue to adjust. Now, you'll notice when I moved, I did get that black line there. That is a deformation in the shape. So there's something that's not quite working there. Sometimes I can get rid of that by coming over, just like on any other poly structure, and by adding or inserting an edge loop. So let's see what happens if I come over here and I do this. Let's try that again. Let's say interactive split tool here. I'm going to touch there and touch here and hit return. And look at what it did. It just changed it. So I'm going to come back to that tool again, okay, and see if I can make a difference here. Okay, interactive split tool, and I'll click from that vertex there and click to here and hit return. And it looks like that's not going to help. So you have to be really careful once you're changing and modifying vertices. If you get one of those black deformation shapes like that that's in there, it can really come to hurt you. Now, you can try to delete it like this, but then I'm losing the edges in it and I can't fill the shape again. So that's not really a good choice either. So have fun with the text tool, but there are some pros and cons to it. And if you have any issues with it, call me over and we'll see if we can't come up with a solution or resolve it. Okay? Thank you.